Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then welcome to Forensic Science Fridays. And I hope that you like and subscribe so you can watch future true crime videos with me, Elise Camarena. And before I go ahead and get started into this video, I do want to give a trigger warning. This case does include a school shooting, which so heartbreaking, but we'll go into the story and, the victims. But I just want to go ahead and give a heads up for, anybody who've ever had to deal with anything like this. If this is something that's too intense for you, can't handle it, I totally understand. But I do hope that you still like and subscribe, because not every single video is going to be, this kind of trigger. Now, given all of that, let's go ahead and jump into the case. We are going to be talking today about a woman by the name of Brenda Spencer. Now, we're going to go ahead and start from the very beginning with her. She was born on April 3rd, 1962. She was born in San Carlos, San Diego, California. Cali girl myself too, but I'm up in Sacramento. Anywho, she was the youngest child of 3 children in the family, but in the year 1972, her parents decided to get a divorce. With her mother, she says that her father was cheating on her. In the Amazon Prime documentary, he denies this altogether. It's called I Don't Like Mondays, but we'll get into that. So when it came to the custody battle, the 3 children actually ended up living with their father, because the oldest child, was convinced by the dad to go ahead and move in with him. Middle child, Brenda's older sister, got caught into that too, so she wanted to live with the father as well. And since Brenda, she's the youngest and the courts didn't want to separate them, they made all 3 children live with their father. And I don't know if this made the mother feel bad, especially given everything I'm going to tell you, but who knows? I'll move on. These children now lived in 6356 Lake Atlan Avenue in San Carlos, San Diego. Her mother did end up remarrying and pretty much had her own family, and Brenda had a half-sister, but I don't think that they, got to really talk or got, any kind of closeness like she had also hoped with her mother. Brenda and her mother, now that she remarried, she kind of just felt neglected, which kind of sad, but sometimes divorce happens and the children are ones that have to pay for it. It's unfair. In the documentary that I was watching, the mother actually said that Brenda growing up was an active, happy, loving child. So the fact that we're talking about her today and how she has crimes that she committed was just a mystery to her. She didn't see any kind of signs at all that something like this could happen, especially to Brenda. She was just, didn't know, and she kind of seems to wish like she did, but at the same time, I just feel like maybe she just didn't try to look into it. I'm not sure. Her mother's relationship with her is just pretty strained. We'll stop talking about her for a while. Moving on. As time moved on, she was finally 16. She went to Patrick Henry High School, and she's just being a 16-year-old, she's very smart, but she doesn't care. So she's not going to school, and she's just, when she is there, she's being really unruly and just, being a teenager. But there's also some red flags there. Interesting as I go on. Even at one point, her counselors from school had a meeting with her father, because she had actually confided in one of the counselors that she had been trying to unalive herself, and she was having those type of thoughts. She had tried many times to unalive herself, but each time she was unsuccessful. She tried ODing on drugs and alcohol and just a bunch of other different things, and just each time wouldn't work. But they had told this to the father. Father was just saying to them flat out, and this is ridiculous, she's being overdramatic. She's trying to get attention. What? No! I don't know. Maybe it just is one of those things, just back in the 70s, mental illness was not as big of a deal as it is today, because, big things happen when you talk about these things. Don't take these things lightly. It's not something to just ignore or pretend that it's over dramatic. It's not. It's really not. People do unalive themselves, and there's always red flags. There's always clues, or at least I think so. And, I don't know, maybe it's different for every situation, but just, the fact that they're letting the father know, and he's just pretending like it's not a big deal. But then, this father, I swear he's an idiot. He went ahead and bought her a gun, a .22 rifle, at Christmas time. Now, this is a time where she is telling her father that she is having suicidal thoughts. Oh, okay, honey, why don't you have a gun? Oh, well, why don't you go ahead and give her another attempt to go ahead and murder herself? Are you insane? This man is an idiot. I can't. Like, this, I'm so sad that she had to go ahead and live with this man, because he is just ridiculous. He did not want a parent. He was previously in the Navy, and he went with Brenda into the mountains and did target shooting, which, you know what? She's young, that's not great, but I mean, as a father, whatever, if it's their way of bonding and they really like it, okay, but don't buy her a gun at 16. She is not responsible enough to have gun at 16. I don't care who you are. You do not get a gun at 16. No. I absolutely no. I am, not against people having guns, to each his own kind of thing, but, when they're an adult, not when they're a child. She is not an adult. She is a 16-year-old child. She should not be having a gun. Sorry, a little intense, but no! Stupid father! Makes me mad. But now, unfortunately, we have to talk about the tragedy and crimes of Brenda Ann Spencer. On January 29th, 1979, where Brenda had lived, she was 150 feet from a elementary school. Elementary school was called Glover Cleveland Elementary School, about 150 feet away. So, not, too far exactly. So, at about 8:20 in the morning, the principal is coming out to the gate to go ahead and let the students come in for the morning. And they had actually said, the teachers who were inside said that they were hearing popping sounds or, firecrackers, and they were just kind of confused. Like, what is this? They were just like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, the first bullet hit a child in the abdomen. Brenda Ann Spencer was shooting the school with her .22 caliber rifle across the street from where she lived. And the principal, oh my God, there's definitely, people who you can tell when they actually truly care about the children. I mean, a principal could just be all business, but, yeah, you got to deal with kids, but, you have to really care about children, I think, to be a principal. But he was basically, after this first shot, he was trying to shove these children back into the school, just, trying to get them out of the line of fire, because the bullets are just coming. And I mean, they hit one child at this point. While he was trying to get everyone inside, he was shot and killed right onto the grass. The man who was trying so hard to go ahead and help these children, and he was shot. Just someone who's trying to protect children was shot. It just, it's so sad. It makes me tear up. When the custodian saw this, he ran out to try and help get the rest of the kids back inside and tried to help the principal, just trying to get in there to help as well. But unfortunately, he was shot and killed too. One cop was shot when they showed up, and 8 children were injured very badly. Moving on, this attack lasted 15 minutes. Can you imagine? Oh God. And those parents and just everyone just trying to help these children. That is utter panic. Oh God, it hurts to talk about a little bit. And everything was just going on. And, when this happens, the media immediately, hops on this kind of thing. And they're actually just trying to call around and see, if they can get a hold of somebody in the homes across the street from the elementary school to, say, hey, can you see anything? Do you know what's going on? Like, they're getting that intense. And then they call Brenda's home. Brenda picks up the phone and she is just, like, hello. And they were saying, hey, do you know anything about this? What's going on, kind of thing? There's a person who's trying to kill all these kids. And she said, yeah, I'm that person. That media person must have flipped out, but they had to remain calm, composure, and ask, why is it you're doing this? And her answer, I do not like Mondays. What? That is your answer? And then, yeah, she says, I don't like Mondays, and this livens up the day. And I'm sure the media guy or whoever was just kind of like stunned as I am right now. And then she says, oh, I have to go. This is fun, and I should probably shoot more people. Bye. Sorry, sometimes the mouth just opens and you have to just, close the mouth because your jaw dropped. My jaw dropped to the floor. This is some crazy ass shit. Luckily, the teachers were able to evacuate the rest of the students by buses. And then all of the cops came, all of the law enforcement. They all showed up outside of Brenda's home because people can just literally see she is shooting from this home. There was 100 officers, 30 patrol units, and 20 SWAT teams just trying to, get her to surrender and stop doing this. And she, was just kind of like, don't come in, don't try to do nothing, otherwise I will try to shoot you. And she did this for hours, and about 7 hours actually. And finally, the cops and everybody else was finally able to get her to surrender and come out. But she said she would only do it if she could go ahead and get Burger King first because she has not eaten today. This little bitch. I swear I could snap her neck like a piece of chalk. I don't care how crazy that makes me sound. I cannot believe this. I want to shove her off a cliff. To avoid getting the death penalty, she waived her right to a trial by jury, and she got 25 years to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. The documentaries were saying that she is the first school shooter and put school shooters on the map. Technically, that's not correct. There was other shootings that were in the 1950s. The only reason why this shooting is extremely big for the media is because of age, because she was 16, sex, she was a female, and the fact that she used the line, I don't like Mondays, as a reason to kill children and cops and men. Apparently that was a good enough reason, this crazy bitch. I'll admit, it does draw you into the story. I, found this story intriguing, so that's why I'm doing it today, but still, she's still crazy. I don't care. And the fact that they're trying to say that she was the first, of the school shootings, don't glorify her. She's just awful. After 26 years in prison, she was able to get her first appeal, but she was just doing crazy things in prison. So it's kind of like, I don't think they're going to let you go. For example, she had a girlfriend in prison, and unfortunately it was a big bad breakup. And because of that, because when you get breakups, you go ahead and get a paperclip, heat it up, and write on your chest, unforgiven and alone. She is not stable. Don't think she's leaving quite yet. She also claimed on the day of the shooting that she was drunk and high and was having hallucinations. Well, let's shut that down real quick, because when she got arrested, they did a toxicology report forensic science. And they were able to prove that that wasn't true due to that evidence. You're lying. Why are you lying? It doesn't make you look good, especially if you're trying to get appeals. Now, one thing that was kind of difficult was that in the year 2001, she actually went ahead and told people, cops and all of those people obviously, that she had been sexually abused by her father growing up. And given that she's lying so much, they kind of, had a hard time believing her. And there was even rumors that she had shared a bed with him and they didn't have a lot of furniture, which that's crap, but whatever. If she really had to share a bed with him, then ugh. Creepy, man. And it's sad because it might even really be true. From the appearance that she always had, she was always in baggy clothes, and a lot of times people say that if a woman is being sexually abused, a young woman is being sexually abused, that she will try to make herself look like a boy so that way the abuser won't try to go ahead and come after her because they won't, be as enticed as one would be if they were a girl. If this is true, it's so fucking maddening. Sorry. F-bomb. Her mom said, actually, in the documentary, that she had been trying to get her out of the house, but she didn't have a good enough lawyer to get her out. But I kind of think that's a flimsy excuse. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not one for the law, but, I don't know. I really feel like if my daughter was like that, I don't know. Who knows what I would have done. I'm not a mother, but I would not let her stay there. No, I would have found a way. Anywho, and at first, like I said, people thought she was lying, but Brenda had a cellmate who was 17 who actually got out of jail, and she was going to go ahead and start off in a halfway house, but she ended up moving with Brenda's father, who's easily probably in his 30s or 40s, and just, I cannot believe that he would marry her, have a baby with her, and then later on, after a year, she'd run away and then he'd go ahead and have to keep the baby. That was their story, but really not looking good for you. He's a pedophile, flat out. He's a total pedophile. He's awful. He's gross. Blech. What was also very concerning is she looked a lot like Brenda, and people actually thought that Brenda had come back home. Ugh, that's even more disturbing. And what is also crazy to me is that after this tragedy, after this shooting, he still continued to live in that same house. It was almost like he was trying to wait for her to get out of jail so that way he could still take advantage of her, even at her own age. And luckily, at this point she was still in prison, but you know what? In his 80s, he died. Okay, bye! Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. You are an awful human being. Bye. He's a terrible person, and I feel no sympathy for him. But let's go back to Brenda. On her most recent appeal, she actually did a lot better. She did show a lot of remorse, and the interview basically went a lot better, and they were telling her that maybe in a few years that she might actually be able to get out, which... okay, we'll see. Her next appeal is in the year 2025, and I'm really torn if I want her out because she did this awful thing. People died, and those 8 children were injured. Luckily, no one died, and the one cop also got shot, but luckily he didn't die, so total of victims were 2 people. And I'll go into them in a minute. But at the same time, she did also have a lot of mental issues. She had damage done to her frontal lobe of her brain. She had also mentioned in 2001 that she was physically abused too. So she had been talking to the counselor and seeing the doctor while she was in prison, and they diagnosed her with depression, schizophrenia, and epilepsy. Epilepsy isn't going to make you kill people, but okay. But these kind of things do affect your impulse control. So it kind of is making me feel like she wasn't as in charge of her own body, and she was young. And, there's just certain factors that I'm just not quite sure about. So, like I said, I'm really torn about if she should stay or if she should be able to leave prison. But we're going to let the courts decide that in the year 2025. She says that if she is able to get out of prison, she actually wants to become a forklift driver, because if she does get out of prison, she's probably not going to be able to get a job anywhere else. But during her time in jail, she was doing forklift driving, and, you know, this is something that she's able to do. So she is going to pursue that if she is able to leave jail. Just a little tidbit there. And now I just want to talk about the victims of this terrible tragedy. Principal Burton Ragg, he was a husband and a father of 3 children. He was only 53 years old, and he died trying to protect children. And the custodian, Mike Shakar, a 56-year-old man, saw that the principal had died and wanted to help as well, and ran in there to help these children as well, and unfortunately was shot and killed. These 2 men, and I'm sure that they were just wonderful men. These people work with children, and I'm sorry, I have such a good sense for people who are good with children. It's something that I'm not great at, and I think it's great when people are. I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased. My husband's a teacher, and so I think it's just one of the sweetest things in the world. But tangent, we move on. And I truly do hope that the cop and those 8 children are just living the life to the fullest, because not every day is promised, and I'm hoping that they are able to just live as well as they possibly can. This is probably something that's changed their lives forever, and I'm just hoping that they find closure throughout time. And lastly, I do want to mention that there is a band called Boomtown Rats who did a song called I Don't Like Mondays in inspiration of this event. I'm sorry, that is in poor taste. That is really bad. I'm sorry, that's just bad. I don't like it. And the fact that it was a huge hit and it was a #1 hit for weeks in 30 plus countries is just insane to me. And I think that's nuts. And what's crazy is they went on tour, but they went ahead and said, oh, well, we'll make sure to not go on tour in San Diego because that could be, in poor taste. What? That makes no sense to me. If this isn't poor taste, stop singing the song. That's it. Done. Whatever. Luckily, that song is not around anymore for me to hear because, terrible. I'm glad it's not around for me to hear anymore, because that would just make me angry. I guess money is the root of all evil in that situation. I truly do think that this is one of the craziest cases, and I just had to share it with everyone because I really feel like it should be told. It's not about glorifying Brenda, it's about remembering the victims and just knowing evacuation routes and just how to be, aware of your surroundings. And I am hoping that given everything that's happened, that, since the 70s, that up to, 2024, there are ways to avoid things like this. Let's just hope that these kind of things just won't happen anymore. I mean, I have no control over the world, but gosh, if you know somebody who is struggling with their mental health, please just get them help. Find a call line. Find anybody to help you. Just get the help you need, because there are always red flags that are, going to be shown before things like this happen. So, again, if someone is struggling with mental health, get them to a doctor. Anyways, well, that's the story of Brenda Ann Spencer. I just want to say thank you for sticking around and watching my video. Like I said, I hope you hit that like and subscribe button. But I will be talking to you next week. And in the meantime, stay weird. Be safe.